Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Good afternoon. I am Robert Press. Today is January 7th, 2022, our first show of the new year. It is a snowy day outside. There's about 1 to 2 inches of snow. And let me just introduce my press credentials as a political reporter, investigative reporter, and community news reporter. And let me ask my co-host, Anthony Rivieccio, to introduce himself right now. Anthony?
Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year, Robert. My name is Professor Anthony Rivieccio. As most people that watch our show, I hope know, I have 3 lives. My predominant life is I am a private financial advisor, celebrating my 31st year. I'm also an adjunct professor in personal finance for both private and public universities. And I also run and assist and organize a wonderful political club here in the North Bronx called Northwest Bronx Democrats, which one can find on Facebook search.
Our co-host, Mr. Dion Powell, will be a little late. He's at an event right now, so he'll be with us a little late. Also, in our second half, I am going to address something that was sent to me by a certain elected official, and we'll deal with that then. But let's go into our normal Bidenomics with Anthony Rivieccio, talking about our economy here in the country. Anthony?
You know, Robert, I hope I'm not going to be as lengthy as President Biden was. Just before our show, he did a news conference on the economic numbers of the day. Today was a very important day when it came to economic numbers. And in his press conference, where he first addressed the numbers, he went into a much further long-term analysis of what he believes his policies are going to be. The bottom line is, when you talk about money, right? When you talk about money, I didn't say the economy, I didn't say politics. When you talk about money, we're talking about the here and now. We're not talking about the long term. So let me sort of capsize what President Biden said in the first couple of minutes of his news conference. And I'll share some of the numbers with you that he didn't mention that came out at 8:30 this morning. And then, of course, at the end, I'd like your own opinion as to how you think or what these numbers might mean to you. During the course of the week, as we speak now, the Dow Jones in the stock market is down roughly 0.7%. If it stays at that course for the week, it will be down 2% for the week. In regards to jobs, we were at an unemployment rate at 4.1%. That unemployment rate has gone down to 3.9%. In current job activity, we are averaging 199,000 jobs a month when it is expected to average 400,000 jobs a month just to maintain what is called the current economy. Current interest rates have gone up very significantly since the beginning of the year. The 10-year bond has gone up from 1.5% to 1.7%. Now, even though that might not sound like much on the surface, and yes, it's not, that is a 20% increase. And the Federal Reserve, as some of the audience might know, has already been very pronounced as how they're going to have interest rates continue to go up. Wages, as was indicated this morning on a monthly basis, are up about 0.6%. If you annualize that, that comes out to about 7%. But note, what he didn't mention is that inflation currently is around 7%. So, the end game is that you really didn't make anything. So what does all that mean now? Couple that with the long-term plan of his economy, as he indicated, right? Well, our economy is broken into 4 areas: consumer spending, investment spending, government spending, and trade. Well, consumer spending, which represents about 60% of our economy, based on some of the numbers I mentioned and he mentioned, you would say is okay. I wouldn't say it's great, wouldn't say it's bad, would say it's okay. But as he also indicated himself, investment spending is down. Why? No supply chain. Government spending is down. Why? No more stimulus, right? Exports. We're not, trade. We're not exporting, we're importing. We're importing at an annual rate. So the way the economy looks, it's like, Robert, you own a car, right? So imagine you having a battery, which is the heart of the car, right? And it's running at about a C plus capacity, but you have 2 flat tires. How's the car running?
Well, people like myself who have stock investments, we're worried about the market. The market's been going up so far this week. It's coming down. You're telling me 2%. It matters really when people want to take out their money. Has their investment gone up like they wanted, or has it stayed stagnant, or has it gone down?
Well, you know what? Let me mention something that Joe Biden mentioned, and he's absolutely right. If he was right about anything in his press conference, he was right about one thing, but he didn't complete the thought. He said in the last 12 months under his watch, the stock market's gone up 25%. He's absolutely right. What he didn't tell you, though, is that for the last 3 years under the Trump-Biden administration, the stock market's gone up 75%. So regardless of administration, you're right, Bob, we're talking about money, unless we want to talk about the economy, which to me is a separate conversation.
For the first time in our history, a president had not just lost an election, he tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power as a violent mob breached the Capitol. But they failed. They failed. And on this day of remembrance, we must make sure that such attack never happens again. A mob breaking windows, kicking in doors, breaching the Capitol, American flags on poles being used as weapons, as spears, fire extinguishers being thrown at the heads of police officers. A crowd that professes their love for law enforcement assaulted those police officers. We didn't see a former president who had just rallied the mob to attack, sitting in the private dining room off the Oval Office in the White House, watching it all on television and doing nothing. The former president of the United States of America has created and spread a web of lies about the 2020 election. He's done so because he values power over principle, because he sees his own interest as more important than his country's interest, than America's interest. And because his bruised ego matters more to him than our democracy or our Constitution. He can't accept he lost. But whatever my other disagreements are with Republicans who support the rule of law and not the rule of a single man, I will always seek to work together with them to find shared solutions where possible. What kind of nation are we going to be? Are we going to be a nation that accepts political violence as a norm? Are we going to be a nation where we allow partisan election officials to overturn the legally expressed will of the people? You can't love your country only when you win. You can't obey the law only when it's convenient. You can't be patriotic when you embrace and enable lies. Those who stormed this Capitol, and those who instigated and incited, and those who called on them to do so, held a dagger at the throat of America. We're living at an inflection point in history, both at home and abroad. We're engaged anew in a struggle between democracy and autocracy, between the aspirations of the many and the greed of the few. We are in a battle for the soul of America. A battle that by the grace of God and the goodness and gracious and greatness of this nation, we will win.
Well, let me comment first on the video. All right. North Korea launched a ICBM into the China Sea, We heard no response from our president about it. I'm not saying that there's any good or bad about it, but there should have been a response. The administration seems to be working better, and people who did storm the Capitol do need to be held accountable. But if we look in our history, the White House was burned down once before. And what happened? This is a country made up of many different people, and you had a civil war in the 1800s, and it appears now it may go back to that. We may have another civil war. I don't know, and I hope we don't. Anthony, your comments.
Oh, Bob, it's hard for me to comment. I got a dagger at my throat. You know, that was a very sad day. And I think what made it sadder was that, correct me if I'm wrong, people died that day.
One person, I believe.
You know, I didn't hear any acknowledgement of that, at least not publicly.
Right.
And I think, you know, that occasion could have been a lot more solemn. It could have been public, of course, but it could have been a lot more solemn. I think, you know, there was no reason to take it over personal, you know, and you can't say it wasn't over personal, because when you mention the president's name at least half a dozen times, you know, then you're forgetting about the people that were injured, as far as I'm concerned. You're forgetting about, you know, all of the people that were involved in that tragedy. To me, it's the same as like 9/11, right? We remember the people that died. You would be surprised how many people behind the scenes were also injured, both physically and mentally. So I thought it should have been a more solemn occasion.
I'll agree with you on that. I mean, there was no acknowledgement of the security detail in the Capitol. Nothing, you know, again, but let's move on to another subject. We have something going on right now that is just increasing. The coronavirus started in 2019, December 2019. There were 8 variants. We're now in the Omicron variant. Now, Bill de Blasio, when he was mayor, said this will end somewhere in mid-January. Now, for him to say that statement, he had to know something from his doctors. And his doctors, and we're going to go back to this, his doctors who advise him told me that I'm immune to this virus, and it seems that I am. Anyone who had the original virus. Well, Anthony, again, we'll go back to the vaccination that I received.
Oh, that's even worse.
My body fought it off.
Why can't you acknowledge the fact that you are a good preventive person when it comes to this medical situation? Yes, you can catch it tomorrow, and so can I. But why can't you acknowledge that you just are both being very preventive, which is the right thing to do? And yes, there's probably a little bit of luck attached to that as well. You know, but to me, I think that's what's, you know, keeping that side of our of our COVID issue.
I mean, I'm waiting for Dion to come in so we can ask him, how did his test go? I mean, and the question is, where are these tests being made? How reliable are they? People with runny noses and coughs are getting positive results. Or do they have?
Well, I don't know if you saw the city report this morning. The city report acknowledged that in their latest testing of 11,000 tests, that they believe up to 7,000 of them were diagnosed after the fact.
Correct.
Which pretty much means that, you know, I'm going in there because my arm is broken or whatever the case may be. I got a cold, I got the flu, I got a runny nose, I'm coughing, and they're walking out saying you got COVID.
Right. That's exactly it. But we also have 2 new variants coming in. There is one coming from France and one coming from the Middle East. Would you like to talk about them, since you seem to be an expert on the 2 variants that are coming?
No, I'm not an expert. I'm not a medical doctor, but I can tell you I'm getting familiar with the one that's located currently in Israel. They call that pneumonia. Pneumonia, to the best of my understanding, doctors say is a combination of three things. It's a combination of the flu, pneumonia, and Omicron. And Israeli doctors have located it. They're examining it, and of course they're warning the world and American officials and everyone, all other governments, that this is what they found in Israel, and they're very concerned about it, because what seems to be happening is these other variants that are now being found, knock on wood, they don't seem to be more dangerous as far as your health, but they do seem to be a lot more transmissible.
And Mr. Producer, I just received a text from Mr. Powell that he's in the waiting room. He's waiting to come on. All right. So sorry to interrupt you, Anthony.
No, that's okay.
So hopefully if he can come on, we could ask him about how his test was.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing the lines for these tests. And when people come, they take the test. Oh, I'm positive, right? They may have no symptoms at all, but the test is saying they're positive. Or if they do have COVID, they could be registered as negative. It's just crazy.
I think we are sadly in petrified mode.
Mm-hmm.
I had a dear friend say to me yesterday, in her explanation of trying to make logic of it all, she says to me, I took 2 tests over the weekend. Well, how'd they go? Well, the first one was a false positive, and the second one was a positive. Well, I'm saying to myself, well, how could the first one be a false positive if you're telling me the second one is a positive, right? So I don't know, right? I don't know.
Dion says something in the chat. I'm in the waiting room, he says. Mr. Producer, can we get Dion Powell onto the show?
Or get him some men's toilet paper. One of the two if he's in the waiting room.
Well, we're going to move on and talk about redistricting. We have redistricting coming out. The Independent Redistricting Committee has come out with 2 different plans again, Plan A and Plan B, because one is Republican and one is Democrat. However, the Senate and the congressional lines seem to appear to be the same. The Assembly are a little different, except for the 80th Assembly District, Anthony. It appears that you are no longer in the 80th Assembly District, as well as Sheila, who is the president of Northwest Bronx Democrats, who lives in Norwood, because the 80th Assembly District on both maps seems to end at the Bronx River Parkway. And it was confirmed Wednesday night at a meeting of the Morris Park Community Association by an associate of our Assemblywoman, or your current Assemblywoman, and my Assemblywoman too, that yes, the district lines will not pass the Bronx River Parkway, with the exception of the Botanical Gardens. So, Anthony, it looks like you're going to be in the 78th Assembly District, and Sheila Sanchez will be in the 81st Assembly District, because the border seems to be Marshall Parkway. You're south and she's north. Any comments on that?
A few. First and foremost, I have not, well, again, we have to remind the audience that I'm sure there'll be some similarities with the final drafting. The 2 that you're referring to have been rejected by the state legislature, although I'm sure they're going to use that as a guideline, presuming that what you said is true. And let's talk about it in neighborhood terms so the audience can understand that if what you said is true, then the 80th Assembly District will now strictly be 100% an East Side district. It will not have parts of Bedford Park nor the majority of Norwood in that district. I find that both believable and not believable. As I indicated before, there are certain things that you can do with Bedford Park, put it into the 78th Assembly District, because Bedford Park now, as far as the 80th is concerned, is only maybe 10 to 20%. 80% of it is the 78th. So that's more, doable. Now, to take Norwood, which currently is 50-60% Ms. Fernandez, and then 30%
Let him finish,
Dinowitz,
Dion.
and turn it into 100% Dinowitz, that I find a little hard to believe. Hey, Dion.
How are you? Okay, would you introduce yourself, please, Mr. Powell?
Yes, I'd like to share a shout out to Gene David that asked the question that many of our viewers have always asked since day one, directed at Dr. Anthony Rivieccio. Why can't this expert wear a mask properly if he's such an expert? All right. Thank you, Gene, for that question. I'm Dion
Well,
Powell.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
No, Dion, I'm going to respond. I'm going to wear it the way he wants me to wear it. And that's fine. I got no problem with that.
Myself?
But this isn't correct. This isn't correct because it's my belief that we probably have more of a probability of catching anything through our mouth versus our nose. But for him and the audience sake, I'll wear it the way he wants me to.
And
Gene. But wait. I want to make a comment and then I'll leave you to answer your redistricting question. First of all, when it comes to the Rona, now they have something called a flu Rona. Did you guys hear about that?
I was just talking about it.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
That's ridiculous, baby. Get your freebie.
Well, Dion.
You want to know my results?
Yes.
All right. Well, 2 weeks ago, I was positive. Wait. Let me actually give you the timeline. Conservative Party, holiday party. Press, you were there, where it was announced that this guy had the COVID, right? So then a week later, I procrastinated, took my test on Monday. A week later, after that, on Christmas, I got my results saying that I was positive. But mind you, it's a 14-day. This is for the numbers guy. This is a word problem for the numbers guy. There's a 14-day window. So the question that you ask yourself is, have you been around someone that's tested positive for COVID in the last 14 days? Wait. Here's the math problem for time frame. Have you tested positive for COVID in the last 14 days? Keep those numbers in mind, Mr. Numbers over there.
I actually got them here. Go ahead.
Okay. So
I can tell you now you're in trouble, but go ahead.
Right. Well, watch this. So Robert Press, you and Rivieccio were at the Conservative Party holiday party, right? And hopefully you guys got tested too. That's the first question.
I'm immune, Dion.
Wait. Lions firm. Did you get tested?
No, I'm not getting tested.
No, I mean Anthony Rivieccio. You were at the Conservative Party holiday party. Did you get tested for COVID?
I'm everywhere. Some people call me Santa Claus. I went down a lot of chimneys during the holiday season, and I will never plan on taking a test.
All right, well, there goes that. So anyway, remember, the guy tested positive Sunday. I got the test a week later on Monday, and then I got the test results a week after that on Monday. So how many days is this?
You're talking almost 3 weeks, Dion.
Yeah, so it's for how many 14 days of a 7-day week is that?
How many?
14? All right, it takes 14 days as a 14-day buffer zone since you've been exposed, correct? So now I have a positive test, but when I take this pregnancy, this test, it says I'm negative, which is 3 weeks after the fact.
Oh, good, you're not pregnant.
Wait a minute. Wait, that's wonderful. But then I went to the doctor's office yesterday, and I told my doctor the whole time frame because my doctor's office canceled on me because I had to check the box to say that I was around someone who had COVID tested positive within 14 days. So they pushed it back. But then I said, hey, doc, can I get a COVID test here at your office? He said, no. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a doctor's office. I'm not supposed to be tested for everything from my prostate to my freaking medulla oblongata. I said, you know what, doctor? Let me use some common sense and critical thinking on you versus your MD. Can I get a antibody test? Sure, Mr. Powell, why not? Okay, brother. So he did me an antibody test. He said the cholesterol is high. And I said, wait a minute, doctor. Then is it still true that antibodies last in your body for 3 months? The nurse chimed in, of course it is, sir. He's like, yeah, but still, I recommend you get vaccinated. And that's interesting. So, I wasted a month now being potentially positive for a month and having antibodies for a month. So I have 2 more months left of antibodies. And I have this little electronic email that says antibodies in my body. So I should be able to get anywhere I want during this timeline from December to March. But you know what's interesting? A lot of my people are getting civically engaged and getting fed up. My friend was online for 2 hours and he called me. He said, Dion, I don't understand. Tell me about this politics stuff. How do I call somebody about this? Because I can't go to work because I don't have a test result. I said, wait a minute, John. I thought you were vaccinated. Isn't that good enough for your job? He said, no. My job now is just to show them that we have a negative result to come to work. I said, wow, that's very interesting, John. Here's your local city councilman information. Here's where you found it. He hit me up next day. Dion, they hung up on me. I said, well, I'm sorry to hear that, brother. You still want to vote blue in November? No matter what, you sure? And so that's where we're at with the COVID timelines. Because remember, they changed it from 14 days. No, they changed shelter in place to how many days, Anthony?
Well, Dion,
to 5 days. So now
answer me then.
Dion. Yeah, no, Dion. I mean, Dion. I was just gonna say, it sounded like you just described the brand new WWE policy, so you could get into the next gate. That's what it sounds like. Okay.
5 times.
Yeah,
you say shelter in
Dion,
place for 5 days. 5 days.
Dion, wasn't the person that you were with at the wrestling match positive?
No. Nobody was
Mr.
positive.
Hayes, he didn't have COVID?
No, everybody was fine. Now the wrestlers themselves are positive, according to Captain Lou Albano's CPA over there.
Well,
I was not aware of that.
Wait. At the time, everybody is now cleared.
So it's not known how many other people in the audience had it.
The millions. Or the millions of fans that may have been contracted.
Millions.
But Dion, you're wrong about the time frame. It took 2 days for me to catch COVID. I caught it from the subway. I blamed de Blasio. I was coming back from a press conference. 2 days later, it hit me. In 5 days, it was gone. And his 2 top doctors told me I'm immune to it. Dr. Katz said I didn't have to get vaccinated. Okay, there's something going on that they're not telling the public. It seems that people who had the original COVID virus are immune. People I've talked to who had it, just like me at the same time, are telling me, no, yeah, I'm not. One gave these antibodies, and she said she saved, hundreds of people that received the transfusions from her. Okay, Dion, it should come out in the end, all right? And if everything was real, by the way, Dion.
3 boosters. I can't wait for my friend also told me, he said, Dion, you know what? I'm going to give this booster one more shot. If it doesn't work, then, I'm going to stop taking it. I said, that's great, brother. Just take 5 boosters.
Well, there's room for 6 shots on that card.
In Israel, wait a minute, Israel actually has the highest COVID vaccination rate, and they're up to their 6th booster, and they're all excited. So if you want to follow God's chosen booster, then hey, that's the way to go. But thanks to my friend Jesus, because a lot of people are drinking the Jesus juice. You know what? We're going to depend on Jesus now more than ever.
Well, we can keep going about COVID, but let's talk a little bit about redistricting. Mr. Producer, can we get up the congressional lines? In redistricting, guys, we have several different moves there. It appears that Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez has been moved up to Mamaroneck. Congressman Richie Torres on one of the maps has Riverdale, which I really can't understand how he's going from the South Bronx all the way up to Riverdale.
Well, now you know why, Bob, these maps you're referring to have been rejected.
And then they push Congressman Espaillat, instead of giving him Riverdale, they push him down to the South Bronx.
Again, we're talking about rejected maps, but go ahead.
Right. And the state Senate maps, Anthony, do you know what I see on the state Senate maps? I'm now in the 36th Senate district. No longer the 34th, but I'm in the 36th, which means I can run against Jamal Bailey now.
And I can share my screen if you want me to share my screen to give you the Al Roker preview.
The maps, I gave the producer the maps to put up. And
right, you don't need me.
When these Senate maps are really strange because Anthony is no longer in the 36th Senate district and he's in the 34th Senate district. So we've just exchanged state senators. Keep in mind, Bob,
Norwood was the 34th 20 years ago. Right? They took the 34th away from us and created the 33rd.
Well, Anthony, if you remember, 10 years ago, the Ben Franklin Club, the official club of the 81st Assembly District, was on the wrong side of the street, and Jose Rivera 20 years ago put it in the 78th Assembly District just to get back at Jeffrey Dinowitz. He also went up the hill into Riverdale to take one election district, of which Jeffrey Dinowitz corrected 10 years ago and got his club back into the 81st Assembly District. So we have to wait and see, because in the assembly lines, here's the assembly lines. Like I said, Dion, you didn't hear this, but Anthony and Sheila are no longer in the 80th Assembly District. Anthony is now in the 78th and Sheila's in the 81st.
Come on, move on down below Tremont, guys, and you get the treatment you deserve in the food desert.
Dion,
In the food desert.
Dion, I know you don't know Norwood that well, but let me ask you your opinion on something. Do you honestly believe, based upon what Robert just said, that Jeffrey Dinowitz is going to extend his lines, right? Which means he's got to give up other pieces, right? That he's going to extend his lines to Norwood. Do you really believe that?
Well, I believe anything during the stage of COVID. Maybe it's affected my brain, but if Dinowitz is a problem, Espert's a problem, AOC is a problem, then anything's possible with the Democratic majority with such, progressive thoughts going on in the state legislature. But we'll see what happens. Now, my question is, does Hochul have veto power over these proposals?
No, she doesn't. It's up to the legislature.
Well, that's going to be very interesting for 2022, because petitions have to be hitting the streets, which you two guys, which I can't wait to see you guys collect petitions in the projects, March 1st.
We normally have a commercial here, and it seems like we're not going to have one. We're at the halfway point, and I said at the halfway point, I was going to address something that happened on last week's show.
Hi, I am Dustin Pickering from Parrot Literary Corner. You know me, your noble and honest host, and I've got exciting news for you. Last anthology, Series 1, The Literary Parrot, did such a great job. We wanted to continue to provide this community service to our viewers and to our contributors to the program. So please get up and get a copy immediately. If you're in this book, you want to get a copy. If you're not in the book, you want to get a copy and see what we're doing. You want to be excited with us. We want you on this program, and we hope to see you sometime soon on The Literary Parrot. You have to get your hands on this copy. It's amazing. It's an absolutely beautiful anthology meant just for you. Our past guests have been invited back to contribute yet again to this Series 2. We do this quarterly anthology. We will be doing this after our 200 episode milestone. As of this last quarter, we reached 200 episodes, and past that, get up and get a copy immediately. This is the only TV show on earth for creative writers, and our guests are amazing. They're also community activists building from the ground up. This program is for everybody out there who is a creative mind. Order several copies if you can, and donate to local libraries. Give them to your friends, cousins, fans, supporters, anybody that you think loves poetry. And it's not just poetry in this book. Remember, this is creative mind. So we have prose, fiction, short stories, essays, artwork, anything you can think of, artistically creative, photographs. Everything in this book is packed. It is packed. It is just absolutely packed. If you want to get your hands on it now,
Okay, and it seems like that last week's show, there was a
Hey, Bob.
question.
Bob,
Yes.
before you get started, because I know you got abrupted by a commercial, I just want to give a shout out to Dustin and just let him know that A, I love this commercial, and B, I think he could, that his when we had him on the show last week, we were talking about his beard. I think he could go either way.
Well,
And his hair looks more,
Okay, guys.
relaxed than yours.
I received an email, a threatening email from a proposed lawyer who says they represent Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez. They make certain claims in there about what I said last week. Now, what I said last week was based on the Lorella Hatch Democratic Club Forum on February 9th. It was a question asked by Taisha Salcido. All right, it questioned the Assemblywoman's character. I'm not going to go into that. All right, it's at the 56-minute mark on the tape. It's on the Lorella Hatch Facebook page. You just have to scroll down to February 9th, look at the tape. It's at the 56-minute mark. All right. I've been accused of saying a lot of things about this Assemblywoman, and from my ashes, they'll create a candidate that will be unstoppable. Okay. I don't take the threats. It says that I said that I would go after her with revenge. All right. The revenge part was against former Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr., who in 2016 just all of a sudden didn't reappoint me at the last minute. May 31st of 2016, I received a phone call from the chair of Community Board 8 saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, the borough president didn't reappoint you." Okay. When I saw the borough president the next night at an event, his words were, and I've mentioned this before, and I said, "Don't worry, Ruben, I know what it's about." He says, "You were a bad boy, Bob." It goes to the 2016 special election where for Raphael Salamanca, where in January of that year, and it's in the minutes of Community Board 8's minutes of two committees, that I stated that I was threatened, my reappointment was threatened by two operatives of the Bronx Democratic County Committee. Okay, that was the revenge part. The revenge part was getting one of the two, who was the former district leader, beaten in a race. Okay, and the revenge was against former Borough President Diaz and not Assemblywoman Fernandez. Now, this letter also states that on August 26th, she met me at the Liberty Diner, where I demanded that she put me on her slate as the male district leader. There was no demand, it was an ask. And she said that she had another candidate at the time that she was considering. So I said, well, fine, if you don't take me, I'll have to make my own slate. And that was it. That was not a threat. It also says that you began showing up to public events to berate her by making menacing threats and taking countless photos of her. That's false too, because she became the Assemblywoman in 2017 after a special election when Mark Joe and I became the councilman. I have been covering the elected officials for about 14 years now. Again, I'm a member of the media. I cover political events. I'm a political reporter. I cover community events, and I do not give in to threats. I'm also an investigative reporter, and I was investigating what this woman, Ms. Taisha Salcido, was saying, and if it had anything to do with our Assemblywoman. The words, revenge porn came in, and they are accusing me of having this photo because I don't have a photo. And it says I have it, then it says I don't have it. Then again, it says I have it. Well, I'm going to tell you, I have no photo of Assemblywoman Fernandez in a compromising position. I'll just put it like that. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. The question was a naked photo of Assemblywoman Fernandez. All right. If she had indigressions before she became an Assemblywoman, it is a private matter, she said, and that's why she created the revenge porn law was created. So I don't have the photo, and I'm not going to show the photo, period. And that's it. But I am still running for male district leader, and it probably will be on a different slate from the Assemblywoman. Okay. And since I'm now in the 36th state Senate district, that has given me an idea, because it seems that our Bronx Democratic County organization is having problems. They're trying to be, and Anthony, you can come in at any time, because what do we have here in the Bronx? A one-party system, Anthony?
Well, it's a one-party majority system. I wouldn't say it's a one-party system.
Who was the last Republican elected official? or non-Democrat? Either of you know?
I have an idea, but I'm not 100% sure. I
Dion,
believe
do
it
you
was in the
know?
late 1980s.
Your heroine, Guy Villela.
Yes, you're correct on that. I'm surprised
All
you.
right.
Because I know that because occasionally you just preach the gospel of Guy Villela. I was there when Guy Villela. I sat on Guy Villa's lap for Christmas, all kinds of things. So Guy Villela is the only name that's in my head because you always say you beat your chest about Guy Villela, 101 Dalmatians, Democrats, and all kinds of stuff.
Well,
now, can I address the Natalia situation?
go ahead.
Well, today is going to be my last episode, family. So Dion's got to go because these two guys over here, they play too much and they take things to different extremes that are inappropriate. Now, I can name other instances. There was an incident with Michael Lambert that came up that you guys, went too far. And there was another incident that I wrote down here that, anyway, long story short, you guys have a problem with apologizing and saying you were wrong. And that's one of the things that I am big on because I've done it before. Other people where I tagged them and I apologized and I admitted that I was wrong. And that's something I think you guys should do with Natalia. No matter how you personally feel about her, those things are taken very seriously post Me Too. And, Press, you too have a problem with women, and especially with Mona Davis and stuff like that. You seem to only attack women publicly too. And that's something that's been brought to your attention.
Dion.
Wait, one more thing. I'm going to finish with this. I'm going to say yes. It's been fun, guys. I love you guys. There's no love lost. No matter how many people say that me being associated with you guys destroyed my brand and you'll never make it in this town. I say, I don't care. One thing about you two, people have to realize that people need you. And the reason why I sought you out when I first started, because you guys have a historical perspective. And I've also come to mind, you guys have a lot of dirt on a lot of people. A lot of people talk trash about you guys behind your back, but eventually they have to come see you and pay you. So I'm like, well, I won't be a hypocrite. These people are my friends. I consider you guys very close friends and allies. But those other people that beat their chests and they're like, I hate you guys, eventually they have to come see you, regardless. So that's how I'm going to start my own show, thanks to Mutiu. And that's it. And I think that's all I want to say. Go ahead.
Dion.
Robert, I'm going to ask you to wait.
Wait. Hold on. Let me answer.
Robert, I'm going to ask you to wait. Robert, I'm going to ask you to wait for one moment because I can see him wanting to address you because I think that's just obvious as to what happened last week. Now, in regards to me, right? Let's keep this you and I for a moment. Okay? As I said to you off the air, and I will now say to you on the air, I said it last week, I said it this morning, and I'll say it tomorrow. The allegations that came up on Miss Fernandez before this morning, the only time I ever heard of them, and I keep using the word alleged, was from Mr. Robert Press. And I say as of this morning, because this morning, Robert Press sent me that videotape that he's referring to the club. And I would suggest to you that before you say any other word, that you go listen to that debate. And you go listen particularly what this woman, I can't say the woman's name, said. Because I was shocked. I was shocked. And I wasn't shocked by her question. I was shocked by the Assemblywoman's answer. But you know what? Right. Go get your own opinion. What is a fact? What is a fact are her statements. So go listen to them. And then I expect you to come back to the show, hopefully as a host, and apologize to me because I haven't accused her of anything.
Well, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not disputing the facts here. I'm just saying that the insensitivity and the inappropriateness of the post, that was it. And, like I said, you guys both received phone calls. And I'm surprised, Anthony, you changed up because you got a phone call from county, I understand. So that's it.
I got 100 phone calls, and I decided after the 100th phone call, some of those calls being very similar of the thought that you are currently presenting, I said, you know what? I decided, I changed my original statement, but then, of course, I put on last week's show where they could hear Mr. Press's words for themselves, which was, of course, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dion, because I played it back myself. It was the first time I heard of it, and I believe it was the first time you heard of it. So again, up until this morning, anyone that has ever asked me about it, and yes, I've gotten 1,000 phone calls about it, is that I've always used the word alleged. And before last week, I didn't even know about it. This morning, Mr. Press sent me the Luella Hatch Democratic Club debate that he referred to last week. I know it's towards the end of the debate. Robert, you might want to tell Dion and the audience the particular time of the tape because the debate's an hour and a half long. But again, like I said on my second statement, listen to it for yourself. Make your own opinion.
All I was doing, Anthony, was investigating, reporting. Okay. And as far as an apology, Dion, that's what you heard. You heard me basically apologize to her. Okay. And you don't hear that often from media people, that they apologize to people.
Where did you apologize? Now, wait a minute. Now, wait. I got on Dion's case for a second. I might get on yours. When did you apologize?
What's that?
When did you apologize?
By saying that, what happened with the question, okay? And that I am not going to pursue it. I don't have a photo like they accuse me of, and I'm not going to pursue it anymore, period. Okay? Obviously, it's So then what you're saying, I just want to be sure I understand, is that you're apologizing to the Assemblywoman. You could say that, yes.
Okay.
For anything that I may have caused her as far as stress.
Wow, I finally broke the tail. He's getting an apology.
And I say, but the letter that I received or the email
Remember, Dion, I was the one that asked the question, so I want all the credit now. I don't want Bob to, of course, steal 1,000%. Go ahead, Robert.
Okay, because I never said I was getting revenge on the Assemblywoman. That was on Borough President Diaz. And Dion, as you say, Borough President Diaz is not a woman, nor is Mayor de Blasio or other men that I have gone after. I am going after people who I feel or the public feels need to be addressed. This was something that someone said needed to be addressed.
Now, Dion, if you want to leave our wonderful group because of those echoing statements, that I can understand.
Wow, guys. I love
but
you.
to claim, and I apologize for being a little upset. And again, now I'm only talking about me, okay? But to claim that I'm insensitive, to claim that I'm lying, to make all these things, you need to separate. And let me share that with the audience too, okay? My name is Professor Anthony Rivieccio. It's not Mr. Best, Robert Press. It's Professor Anthony Rivieccio, okay? So I deal with me. Okay, don't integrate because you'll just capacitate.
Let's not constipate. Anyway, the insensitivity still stands.
I got before you, brother. You're gonna need it with those fake tests that you take.
Wait. So basically, we all know the Northwest Democrats has a lot of bullying tactics, as you can see.
Yeah, let's talk about some of those bullying tactics. You brought up Michael Lambert, not me. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the bullying tactics of the Northwest Bronx Democrats. Let's talk about, as Mr. Press indicated, we're tired of the Gaga. Okay? So on our page on Facebook, that's right. Gaga gets thrown out the window. You're absolutely right. I'm very proud of it. I ain't got time for Gaga.
And Mr. Powell, wait a minute, Dion. Let me add one thing, Dion.
Yeah.
I spoke to one of the candidates that was at that forum, and that person gave me certain other things to use against the Assemblywoman, which I'm not going to, okay? Because I don't think it's fair. I want the Assemblywoman to know that I'm not coming after her. There's no revenge, and that this paper that was sent to me by so-called representative of her is false. And I want her to acknowledge it, and she needs to apologize to me now for the charges in this. Okay? I have apologized to her for saying that I'm looking for the photo. Now I would like her to apologize for these people saying that I have the photo, that they're going to come after me, and they're going to make ashes out of me to increase her popularity. Okay? I am now owed an apology by the Assemblywoman or by this firm.
Okay, well, I'm going to actually try to include my replacement, okay? Because Mutiu and I discussed that you need another black face in this space, and he wanted the black one. But I got someone that you guys might appreciate. So, and also have the district maps here as well. So let me
Dion, I think you should stay. I think you should stay. I still don't understand why you want to leave, although I will admit.
No, there is no picture.
Well, I sent the person the link to come on, and the reason I'm leaving is because with my own show, I can actually, during the No Black movement here in New York City, dust off my image and maybe able to get a job as a community board manager, district manager. Because a lot of community board district managers are going, wait, hold it, don't giggle too hard, man. You might want to puff a fag. But yes, community board 1 is, for example. These people have retired. John Dudley, you have Cedric Lofton, you have John Sanchez. So I too would like a chance at that $70,000 or better job. You know what I mean? If they want to pitch a whole Dion. Oh, here's my replacement here, Mr. Marcus. The ladies call Mr. Marcus. He was famous in the 90s, and here he is. Come on, Mr. Marcus. Introduce yourself to the audience as my replacement.
What's up, Mr. Marcus?
Before you come on, let me answer Dion as far as the district manager's job. Dion, I applied for district manager of Community Board 8. I was in the final selection. However, it seems that the president of the Ben Franklin Club got the position, and 3 months later, he quit. Okay, I was asked to apply again, and I said, "You didn't pick me the first time. I'm not giving you a second chance." And then, when there was an opening in Community Board 7, the chair of Community Board 7 asked me to apply for that position. And I said, no, I think somebody from that area should be put in there.
Dion,
okay?
it's not easy, Dion.
It's possible.
Looks like I've opened up a can of emotional worms.
Dion, there's a rumor going around that you're going to have your own show. I don't know, the extent of it. I hope you'll break it down for us in a minute. But first and foremost, I do want to congratulate you if that rumor is accurate. I think it's good that it might be on the New York Parrot, and if so, that's just expanding the capabilities and the Parrot. So I think that's a good thing. You mentioned Black movement, so I think that gives me some idea. But you should break it down a little bit too as to. Well,
Marcus will appreciate this. Well, hold on, Mr. Marcus. I'll let you chime in after this. He's a little bit frozen. So basically what I'm saying is that our borough president's Black, our mayor is Black, our speaker's Black, and pretty soon, hopefully, through the luck and grace of God, our governor will be Black too. And it seems that we have so much Black leadership, Dion has to actually humble himself. Like he has to call Richie Torres and Schumer and Gillibrand for something that he needs personally. And it's time for me to, rebrand myself and go with the Black movement of leadership to see if we can do change as a monolith. Even though, we're not a monolith, we need to be a monolith at this time. It's not.
So this is going to be rebranding number 3.
Yes, the South Bronx Free Thinking Democrats is coming back thanks to you and our falling out. So hopefully you two will come on below Tremont. But like I said before, God has blessed me again. I'll be moving on up Tremont.
What's the name of the show going to be? And I got to ask you, how do you expect to have this show? And I wish it nothing but the best of success. But how do you expect to have this show and then try to parlay it into a district manager position?
Oh, okay. Well, that's 2 separate things. I've already applied for certain assistant district managers positions and also certain people that became elected recently because they have to, in their mind, put out an equal opportunity job listing, even though they don't have to. And I have. We'll see what happens. But other than that, the show with district manager, it's going to be a resource show in which I give solutions and how to and who represents you. And the same regurgitated stuff we get in these e-blasts will be on this show and beyond. And you want to know what titles I've come up with? Let's see which one we can vote on today. I said one of my titles, number 1, would probably be You Don't Know What You Don't Know. Or number 2, In the Know. Or number 2, Not in the Know. Or number 3, be in the know with Dion Powell. And number 4, the black side. Or number 5, the hidden knowledge of politics. Or number 6, the critical thinking of common sense of critical thinking.
Dion, best of luck to you on the show.
I like most of them.
Best of luck to you on the show, Dion. However, nothing against Mr. Marcus, but I would rather see a woman of color replace you.
Good luck with all the women you've pissed off, Press. Of color that you pissed off, and immigrants you pissed off.
I am just doing my job as a reporter, Dion. Unfortunately, and if you were in this position, you would see the same thing, but you're not a reporter. I wouldn't be in
that position. Well, let me tell you this much. I did suggest to the producer, there's only less than 5 black women in my network who have the skill set, knowledge, and network that the 3 of us do of how this game works and could break it down, that actually would consider being on the show. But with your behavior, that's not really going to happen. But this one woman, black woman, I suggested, but he said, Dion, this woman is too timid. She's not going to be able to handle Press and Rivieccio. I said, well, you can never know until you ask her. So that's why we have Mr. Marcus. And as you know,
all you're telling
a vast network of black women.
Dion, all you're telling me is that your Rolodex is very small. Because I can get a black woman on the show in 5 minutes.
This goes to all of you guys. If you can get a black woman to agree to do the show consistently that has the acclimate.
Oh, the executive producer calls me this afternoon. It can be done on Monday, and obviously of a much higher profile.
And Anthony, I'm going to ask you to find a woman of color for the show to replace Dion.
No, because it's Mr. Marcos, and because I don't know what agreement Mr. Powell and Mr. Marcos have, if they have any. I don't know. So right now, all I'm going to do is congratulate Alpheus and welcome him to the show.
Well, the thing is, though, that it was the 3 of us, okay? And I don't know if Dion can pick his successor. I think it would be a joint decision as far as who his successor is. And as I said, I would like a woman of color. Not necessarily black, but it could be a Hispanic woman. Okay, that is a woman of color.
Forgive me for saying this, but that's over my pay grade, so I'm going to leave that up to those guys.
Rob, you're not nervous, are you?
We're going to have to talk this over with the producer after the show if we need be. Okay.
He is nervous of a black woman.
Oh, God.
Nervous.
All right. I mean, I can think of several women who can come on here who have no problem with me.
Do you have any black female friends?
Pamela Stewart Martinez. I can just roll them right off.
I raised her name too.
Seems like Robert is kind of nervous here.
No, I'm not.
No,
I'm not. It's just that Mr. Marcus.
You won't be able to get away with.
You are not from the Bronx. You're from Manhattan.
But I've explained to you 1,000 times. Your journalistic integrity is what's going to do you in.
And
it's
Mr. Marcus, you're just going to fight with us rather than work with us.
No, I'm not.
It's a team effort. At least
I thought that was good for the show.
I love you guys.
All right, Dion was part of the team.
But you do know that I love to hold a lot of people accountable.
And that's the thing I respect about you guys.
You literally have to own up to what you said. You made a statement, right? That one, you didn't have any facts on. So you should have never made the statement.
No, I was just following up on a lead as a reporter does.
Now listen, it's only a lead, right? After you literally did your research to find out if the facts were correct. You don't have a picture or video, and you don't even have the individual that was allegedly in, the mix. So
there is a tape of that. There is a tape of this woman asking the assemblywoman a question, and the assemblywoman answered it. I'm not going to say anything else about it because I want to put this thing to bed.
Let me ask you a question. Did she answer in support of what it was your lead said? Or did she deny it?
Yes. Anthony saw that you watched the tape already, right? What did the assemblywoman say? Anthony basically said it earlier in the show.
Tell us what the lady said.
The woman asked a question of a certain photograph of the assemblywoman. The assemblywoman said it was a private matter that occurred before she came into office, okay, and that there is now a revenge porn law, all right, and that's it.
So if it came in before office, why are you even touching it?
Why? Because
it's not
you know what?
Newsworthy. It's tabloid.
Altheus,
This is what I keep telling you about.
Altheus, would you want a bank robber as your city controller?
Come on, knock it off.
No, I'm telling you, people need to do
Wow.
background checks.
Hey, we're
Now
about to
what's
get-
happening
we're
is
about
there
to
are no
end.
background checks.
You know something?
We're about to end.
You are bouncing around the question. This is why I keep getting on you about your journalistic integrity. You got to stop that, Robert.
No.
One thing I love about you guys,
You're
my
telling
last
me that,
episode,
Altheus,
you-
what you're telling me is when I questioned Mayor de Blasio in 2016 about the conditions of NITRA, I shouldn't have, because I don't live in NITRA. That's what you're telling me.
No, that's not what I
Come
said.
back on as a guest, Dion.
I'm telling you guys, I love you all because you hold people accountable. No matter how you do it, it's what you say, how you say it. But all of us here hold people accountable, and I own
Come back on the show
When
as a
I
guest,
did Mayor
Dion.
de Blasio, why does the Bronx have 37% of the homeless population
You know something?
when it only has
Robert,
18% of the city's population?
Robert,
I'm wrong.
Robert,
It's gonna be a hell of a year, Dion. A hell of a year.
No, it's not, Anthony.
Keep justifying your actions.
Well, we're at the end of the show, so I hope I explained.
So Bob's having a heart attack.
No, I'm not. I'm having fun.
No. Let me give you some legal advice. It's called slander, right? And you can be held liable because you don't have the facts.
There's no slander. This
He
letter that
never
came
took
to
journalism in his
me.
life. He doesn't know what slander and libel are. He's never taken journalism in his life. Those are two key vocabulary words in journalism. Slant, libel, tabloid size, full size newspaper. Okay, the New York Times is a full size newspaper.
And this letter asks that I don't show a photograph that I don't have. Okay? And the matter was brought up during a debate or forum for the borough presidency in February. I am not going to say.
Keep justifying your actions. That's why nobody takes you serious.
Keep watching The Politics.